Alrighty, we're back after a 4-day break. Appreciate everybody for being here today. God bless you all. Please give it a like on your way in. First and foremost, I want to thank Kelly for the PayPal donation that came in, I think, Friday. Thank you so much for your donation, Kelly. God bless you. Thanks to everybody else for being here. Shout out to the moderators, the super chatters, the members of the channel, everybody in between. You guys are the real MVPs. You keep this channel going. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. I hope you enjoyed your tofurkey or your plant-based dinner, since meat is murder and we got to save the planet by eating less turkeys, lowering our standards, etc., etc. Just kidding. No, I got some good news for you guys today. I want to try to start streams off with at least one or two, even if it's just random, positive stories. So there's a story out of Mesa, Arizona, where a cop was pulling people over, and instead of giving them tickets, he was giving them turkeys. I guess it's a part of some initiative. Probably freak people out. I'm sure some people probably feel like that's a waste of public resources or whatever, but is a feel-good story for a cop to, be seen in a light other than being this evil, oppressive, person that works for the state. So that's a good little story over there, giving out free turkeys. That's good. That was a good story. But here's an even better story. This one actually feels really good. This one's out of Florida. I want to introduce you guys to a young girl by the name of Journey. Who is Journey, Mike? You're about to find out right now. Journey did something incredible to help out her mom. Check this out.
Tonight, a 9-year-old girl in West Palm Beach is being honored for her bravery, coming to her mom's defense during a violent daytime robbery.
Her actions helped scare away the attacker. All new at 6, WPTV News Channel 5's Ryan Hughes shows us how the 9-year-old is being recognized.
Heroes come in all shapes and sizes, and in this story, West Palm Beach police say 9-year-old Journey is a hero.
I'm very proud of her, that was her initial reaction.
It all began 2 weeks ago when Journey and her mom were leaving the grocery store on Broadway Avenue. Surveillance video captures the scary moments when police say a violent career criminal came charging at Danielle Mobley.
He tried to grab my purse and take off running, and we struggled over the purse. He pushed me down to the ground.
In that moment, Journey ran from the passenger seat of their car to help fight off her mother's attacker.
And I thought he was running from the store, but he was running at my mom.
Journey a bit shy in front of the news cameras, but on this day, the fourth grader was bold and brave, punching the purse snatcher right in the face.
Her actions were perfect timing in this particular situation, and I don't know, I think she hit him pretty hard.
And the video didn't show it, but she actually jumped up and chased him like 4 houses down the block with me chasing behind her, calling her back.
Police say Journey's actions helped lead to a positive outcome, and the suspect was arrested 2 days later. Now the 9-year-old is being recognized by police for her bravery, receiving a certificate, coins, and the West Palm Beach Police Foundation giving Journey a gift card to one of her favorite stores.
$100.
We don't recommend, going after a violent offender, especially at 9 years old, but she did a great thing and protected her mom.
Mom says Journey goes back and forth between wanting to be a police officer and a teacher once she grows up. Not to twist her arm in any way, but after the ceremony, Journey got a tour of the police department and officers reminding her they are hiring. In West Palm Beach, Ryan Hughes, WPTV, News Channel 5.
Now that's a feel-good story right there. I mean, there's a couple ways to look at it, right? Like on one hand, you could say it's sad, it's unfortunate because a 9-year-old shouldn't be in that situation. But that 9-year-old girl right there was brave, and she acted quickly, helped her mom against some violent criminal who shouldn't have been on the street. We'll get to that too, because that's obviously an ongoing situation in our country, and it seems to get worse by the day. But Journey, a 9-year-old girl, sprung into action, and she knew exactly what to do, and she didn't back down from a criminal. And on top of it, she wants to either be a teacher or a cop. Now, she could go either of those routes, and I think the world would be a better place, because we need more people like Journey who are brave, who know what the right thing is to do, and then does it. I mean, that felt good to me. That's why I wanted to share that story, because it's, on one hand, like I said, it's kind of sad that she would have to do that. But on the other hand, I mean, she put that criminal on notice. Hey, you can't just take advantage of my mom. You're not just going to take advantage of people who you think are weak and vulnerable. And it worked. I mean, her mom, to the point where her mom had to go and say, hey, Journey, that's enough. You beat him up enough. So that's a good story, man. I like that. God bless Journey. All right, moving along. Guys, this one's tough. I have to issue a retraction from last week. So apparently Nancy Pelosi is not planning to purchase real estate here in Florida. Yay, that's great news. That's amazing, right? But at the same time, it's frustrating because I got to admit, I think I may have been duped to believe that she was buying property here. That's my mistake of trusting some sources that I thought were real, legit. I'm not the only one who got duped by fake news. Dan Bongino fell for it. And I think another, maybe, I forget her name, maybe Marjorie Taylor Greene, some other people fell for this. But it got to the point where it was so viral. So many people were talking about it. And there were news articles being written about it to the point where it seemed like it was legit, right? I mean, it wouldn't be far-fetched to believe anyway. But to make a long story short, I'm issuing an official retraction that has been proven false, that she's not purchasing real estate here. And you know what? While we're on the topic, I think a lot of the reason people like content like mine is not because I'm accurate 100% of the time, but it's because I can admit when I'm not accurate and issue a retraction and say, hey, that was not real, or I was misled on that situation. Unlike the fake news industrial complex, which not only lies for a living, but when they get caught, they don't issue retractions, not publicly. They don't make it a big deal to come out and say, hey, that was not true. That's our mistake. We misled you, because their job is to mislead on purpose. That's their goal, unlike mine. So, they won't issue a retraction. They'll just ignore it. They'll double down. They'll move to the next thing because their goal is to mislead and deceive. So I just wanted to just say that. And also all the other points that I made about her living in San Francisco, her living in a horrible district or overseeing a horrible district that's been run into the ground, and all her corruption and everything else. All that still stands. That's all truthful. But I just wanted to say that officially, I do not think that is true. At least according to the sources that I've read, saying she did not purchase real estate here. The person that did purchase that property, because it is pending sale, they're upset because they may have gotten some threats or harassment or something from people who thought this is Nancy Pelosi trying to buy this property. So I'm going on record. Do not go leave your trash at that property, because I don't think that's going to be Nancy Pelosi's future residence. But I mean, if she did want to move here, I mean, that's just saying she wants to be governed by Ron DeSantis. But it's a good thing. We don't need people like Nancy Pelosi in this state. All right. Now, as embarrassing as that was, I had to do that. I had to admit it. So, okay, let's move on. I want to read this like quote. I think this is from a KGB thing. This was sent to me by DM last week. And this is a perfect backdrop for what we're about to discuss as it relates to this new variant that everyone's panicking and freaking out about. It says, in the 1960s, the KGB did some fascinating psychological experiments. They learned that if you bombard human subjects with fear messages nonstop, in 2 months or less, most of the subjects are completely brainwashed to believe the false message, to the point that no amount of clear information they are shown to the contrary can change their mind. Okay, that's where we are right now. For as much as we're always talking about this pandemic, it's a pandemic, COVID, everybody should be freaked out about COVID. We have a bunch of silent pandemics going on simultaneously. We have a pandemic of fear. There's a lot of people that subscribe to fear, constant fear, panic, right? The media loves to fearmonger, loves to get people in a mass hysteria. And there's people that subscribe to it because they're hearing it over and over and over again. and I tweeted out this morning, not too long before the stream, that the psychological damage done to humanity is 10 times worse than COVID. I mean, we don't even know the extent of the long-lasting impacts left on the psyches of everybody, even people like me. Like, it's so psychotic. Everything going on with COVID it's made me crazy almost. But think about the people that actually believe that they need to wear masks for the rest of their lives and get endless booster shots and basically live under a cloud of fear forever and try not to die, as opposed to just living a normal life. I think about like my son, taking him to the doctor, taking him in public. He's not able to see people's faces. He's not able to read facial expressions, right? That leaves an impact on kids, developing minds. There's a lot that goes into this whole panic, this whole new world that has been created where it seems like we're just not going to get out of it. You know, and I think that it has to do with this psychological brainwashing, the repetition. You're going to die. You're going to die. You're going to die. Be afraid. Be afraid. Be afraid. They just keep on repeating it. And so many people, it's been beat into their head. We know the numbers on COVID. We know that the majority of people that get it are going to be okay. We know that 78% of the people that get hospitalized are overweight. The most obese, overweight countries are where most of the hospitalizations and deaths came from. So, I mean, we could go into the numbers and all that. That's not really the point to go into the numbers. I just wanted to say that this is a pandemic of fear. It's a pandemic of authoritarianism. It's people who were so thirsty for power that they could not wait for this new variant to come out so that they could seize power. Before they knew anything about it, you had the governor of New York, the unelected Kathy Hochul, declaring a state of emergency with no information whatsoever, other than there's a new variant and European countries are banning South African countries. She declared a state of emergency. Why? Because emergency powers allow her to dictate what people can and can't do. And just in time for the holidays, right? It's like people forget about the fact that they have immune systems. People forget about the fact that whatever happened to the flu, right? Seasonal flu. Didn't we always have the flu spike during the winter months? Of course we did, but nobody thought about it. Nobody talked about it because the media wasn't using it to fan the flames of fear, and politicians weren't capitalizing on it then. But that's always been the case. More people get sick during the colder months. It's like people just, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just so over this whole fear, die from COVID. Oh my gosh, get your booster shot. And politicians, evil politicians trying to seize the moment so they can just have this power. And this never ends. People don't understand. This is never going to end. COVID is here to stay. There's always going to be a new variant. So what are you going to do, Kathy Hochul? Are you going to declare a state of emergency every winter, forever, for all eternity? You've never announced an end date to this. It's kind of interesting how Fauci even is saying pretty much we need to learn to live with COVID. Well, when did you figure that out? I'm glad that he's saying it because so many people worship at the shrine of Fauci. Whatever he says is gospel. I mean, he himself pretty much said, if you criticize him, you're criticizing science itself. Nothing more arrogant could come out of his mouth. But anyway, he actually said, to his credit, we have to learn to live with it. Okay, so if we have to learn to live with it, then open everything up. Get rid of the mask mandates. No vaccine mandates. We have to learn to live with it. We can't just continue to do this every winter or every summer or whenever there's an election. I mean, don't be surprised if there's some new fear-based campaign next year. It may not even be COVID. I mean, Bill Gates has already foreshadowed a smallpox outbreak, bioterrorist attack, smallpox. I mean, he said it himself. So would you be shocked if there's some new virus next year just before midterms? oh no, we need everybody to stay in because this is more deadly than COVID. We have to do mail-in ballots, mandatory. I mean, how can you not see it as a possibility when right now they're already talking about potentially locking down, except for, today, Biden, just out of the clear blue, said, hey, there's no reason to panic. There's no reason to worry. He says the Omicron variant will come to the U.S., but not a cause for panic. But he already banned travel from, I think, South Africa and some other countries. And I don't know if it went into effect immediately, if it was just talked about. But the knee-jerk reaction by so many countries before they even knew, and people starting to freak out and panic. It's so crazy, man. So I think the real pandemic is the fear, the pandemic of ignorance, the pandemic of denialism. People just just forgot about how life was before COVID. And they just acquiesce to the new norm. Well, the new norm is you just wear masks forever and you just duck and cover every winter and you just pretend like that's normal. You just accept it. You just adjust, just blend in, just be a chameleon about the situation. Just blend. Whichever way the wind blows, I just go with it. No resistance whatsoever. Too many people have fallen victim to that. And this is the media. This is politicians. This is, people from European countries as well as here, these Western countries, banning this travel from African countries. I remember once upon a time when Biden himself said, Trump is xenophobic. Why would you ban travel from China? That's xenophobic, Trump. And travel bans don't work, but yet knee-jerk reaction without any information whatsoever about this new variant, just media saying it's more transmissible. We don't know if it's more deadly, just that it's more transmissible. Oh, and it's resistant to the vaccine. Nobody even knew any of that. It was just the media hysteria and politicians capitalizing on it, and come to find out it's not that bad. So the juice is not worth the squeeze. And here is the South African health minister saying as much.
The announcement about this variant and the risk which the scientists were showing was simply to say that this needs to be watched, but there is no indication and any suggestion at this stage that this mutation, this particular variant, will not be able to the severe illness as a result of infection by this particular variant will not be prevented by the vaccine. There is no such evidence. So we want to dispel any notion, as has been bandied by various commentators. We have had even some of the reasons given by some of the commentators from some of the countries which has imposed these bans, that it is as a result of that. But we can assure you that at no stage did the scientists who announced the discovery of this variant say that this particular variant will be resistant to the vaccines which are being utilized. So let me leave it there, because I'm sure members of the media have particular questions, so that we can be able to interact, having made the introductory remarks. Back to you, Foster.
So this was last week that the South African health minister said that, there's no reason to panic. It's not that big of a deal. It's fine. And there's no evidence to show that this new variant, this new mutation, is resistant to the vaccine. And here's what I don't get about the people who just blindly follow what the media says, blindly believe the obvious lies about COVID and the vaccines and everything. First of all, they think that somehow if everybody just got vaccinated, you're not getting 100% of humans vaccinated. It's just not going to happen. But they believe that somehow if you just get the majority of people vaccinated, we could go back to normal life and COVID won't be a thing. How come the flu is still here? First of all, a virus that constantly mutates is going to be here. We have not eradicated the flu. Fauci himself is finally admitting, I don't know what he learned that we didn't already know, but he's admitting COVID is here to stay. We have to learn to live with it, which should indicate go back to normal, not mask up, lock down, and segregate society and have health passports everywhere, but go back to normal. The virus is here to stay. Learn to live with it. It's constantly mutating. And then the fact that just because you are inoculated doesn't mean that you can't get the virus. But some people seem to think that they're somehow immune. Like, I've got the shot, I'm good to go, as they're telling you, you need booster shots. But still they're saying, you need to get vaccinated. You need to get vaccinated. You're a risk to all the people, everyone in society. They're treating unvaccinated people like lepers, like you're a disease, you're dangerous. Doesn't matter if you have a clean bill of health, doesn't matter what your habits are, doesn't matter how healthy you are. If you're not vaccinated, you're a dangerous super spreader. So too many people think that, and they're cautious of it, even though they've been fully vaccinated. I just don't understand the cognitive dissonance and how it still hasn't registered, or how people think that somehow this is strictly about health, not political. There's no agenda to lock you down. There's no agenda to maintain permanent power over humanity, change life as we know it forever. But this is at this state right now, this will never end. They're going to have new variants all the time. They're going to continue with fear, because fear makes people easy to control. The media knows that. That's why they push fear every day. That's why they push it for a living. But you have the South African health minister saying, calm down. You even have the World Health Organization criticizing travel bans. Right? So now Biden all of a sudden is saying there's not a cause for panic. And he says lockdowns and travel won't be necessary. Lockdowns and bans on travel won't be necessary if Americans get booster shots and wear masks indoors. And while we're on the subject of wearing masks indoors to keep everybody safe, here is Joe Biden out in Nantucket at a place, looks like a place of business, some kind of retail outlet, without a mask, even though the sign on the door says face covering required. So that should be another red flag to people who actually believe all of the rhetoric and the propaganda about COVID. The highest, most powerful person in the United States doesn't even believe what he's telling you. If he believed that, if he truly believed you need to wear a mask indoors at all times to slow the spread, he would have a mask on in this photo. How many videos, pictures have we seen of politicians, celebrities, entertainers, the elite, the people that preach all of this COVID fear and hysteria? How many times have you seen them violate social distancing, travel when they told you not to travel, caught without masks, gathering in groups? If they truly in their minds believe this is dangerous, we're all in it together, cover your face and social distance and get vaccinated, why are we seeing them almost on a daily basis without masks? We got video of Biden literally spitting in a woman's face. Of course, we got him sniffing people, getting really close. He boxed a woman in at a baseball game, just violating norms and personal space, which was weird even pre-pandemic, if we're being honest about that. But I'm just saying, this should be a red flag to everybody who thinks we gotta do all these things. We gotta do what they said. Be safe, be safe. Do it for public health. Do it for the greater good. What do you have to say about Joe Biden, the guy that you think is going to build back better and save humanity, and he's the best man for the job, not even following his own guidelines? But he's telling you, hey, keep it all in perspective, guys. Remember that before he flew his family to, have Thanksgiving with a billionaire on Nantucket Island. He said, hey, keep it in perspective, Americans. Keep it in perspective. Yeah, we're keeping it in perspective. The optics are just terrible. And of course, people like this, they don't care. That's why London Breed, the mayor of San Francisco, she didn't care. She was out again, maskless and partying on camera. She doesn't care that she's a hypocrite. She's saying, hey, I have a different set of rules than you. But out the other side of her mouth, she's telling you, you need to be safe, always wear a mask, get your vaccines. These are fully vaccinated people. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying if what they're telling you is fully vaccinated people don't have to worry, then why are they still wearing masks? Why are they still wearing masks? Why are they telling you to still wear masks? But then they're not wearing masks and they keep getting caught. That's what I'm saying. This has to be registering for people who are still falling for the fear. I haven't been out of the house much this past week, but if I go out in public and I see more people, actually, no, that's a lot. I was actually out over on, I think, Saturday, and I did see more masks. And I'm just like, are people really falling for this again? I'm telling you, man, this damage to humanity, this may not ever be undone. And I hate that kids, my kid included, have to grow up in a society now where half the people they see on a daily basis are covering their face. How does that make sense to a child with a developing mind? Are they going to think that's a part of a face? Is that person smiling at me? They're talking to me, but I can't see their mouth move. I don't know if they're happy or sad. I don't know what's going on. I can't recognize them. It's bad. It's all bad all around. Well, they're still trying to mask up your children. They want to now vaccinate babies. The vaccine works. It really works. It works. It's the only way to prevent COVID. But also you need boosters and boosters and boosters. How long? When will the last booster be administered? Well, we don't know yet. Okay, so lifelong boosters, lifelong lockdowns, constant fear, state of emergency every single year. I mean, I'm not going to subscribe to it. No matter what, my lifestyle is not going to change over this virus. I'm just generally saying for society as a whole, this is not healthy. The mental aspect of this is 10 times worse than the actual virus itself. And I hope YouTube doesn't try to slap me with medical misinformation. At the very least, I know that it will be demonetized or get limited ads. So these hypocrites, man, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, after they said, Trump is xenophobic for his lockdowns or his travel restrictions, and travel restrictions don't work. And yeah, another red flag. And then I really want to move on from this. The other major, this might even be the biggest red flag, is all the people that are wagging their finger in your face, trying to shame you, trying to ostracize you for not getting vaccinated, were anti-vaccine last year. They're on tape promoting vaccine hesitancy, saying if Donald Trump wants me to take it, I'm not going to take it. Can we trust this vaccine? They were all on tape saying it last year. What changed about the science to now when Biden is in office, you need to get it or you're just a bad person? That's the biggest red flag ever. And yet people, I try to put this out there for friends and family, people that buy into this whole COVID phenomenon of psychological damage, which is legit happening. I try to put it out there and I put it out there like bait to see if anybody will take the bait and like at least try to have a conversation about it. Nobody says anything and I plaster it. I'm like, hey, look at this COVID hypocrisy here. That's not safe. That's not social distancing. I thought we're supposed to be masking up right now. Nobody wants to talk about it, but maybe at some point we can get back to having legit discussions about this and maybe try to get back to normal that way. But only if people can honestly wake up and see that they're being misled. I talked in the beginning of the stream about how I was misled about Nancy Pelosi buying a mansion in Florida. That's not even a huge, that's no harm, no foul. That's not a really big story. But it pissed me off to be lied to. Why would anybody be spreading fake news? I don't like when conservatives do it, when it's like memes and it's really obvious, then yeah, it's funny. But if people are putting out stories about something, that will piss me off if it's not true. Have you ever heard the saying that if you want to piss off a conservative, lie to them? And if you want to piss off a liberal, tell them the truth? I think that's pretty spot on. So let's move on. Let's talk about Ghislaine Maxwell's trial. That is starting today. So now that we've had the Rittenhouse trial, we can kind of put that in the rear view. You had the Ahmaud Arbery, I can't really pronounce it. The Ahmaud Arbery trial. His killers went on trial convicted on all counts. That has been put in the rear view. Now we can focus on the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. Kicks off today. I saw an article that James Comey's daughter is involved in this case. I think she might be a prosecutor. That's a red flag. The judge that was supposed to preside over the case got some kind of promotion of some sort from Biden. It's another red flag. And it appears that all press and spectators have been barred from the courtroom. And that is a red flag. You had all hands on deck for the Rittenhouse trial, live coverage, but nothing from the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. I've asked people to find me a mugshot of Ghislaine Maxwell. Have you seen one? I have not seen one. I've seen the little composite sketch or the little artwork that they do. And I think they've done that for other cases too. I think they probably did that for the OJ trial, where they have a little sketch of the person in court. I want to see live coverage of this case, of this trial. Why are we being denied that? Where's the media? Could it be that the media is complicit in this? I mean, this is no small trial. I mean, we're talking about somebody who procured young children for a pedophile to traffic around to elites and blackmail them, including a former president of the United States. Isn't that just wonderful? But this trial is underway and it's being underreported on. So I don't know. Check out the Twitter page, Maxwell trial updates. I should actually post it so that you guys can follow it. It's going to be providing up to date. I don't know how they're getting it, this account, but they're watching the case in the trial closely. I want to get updates on this because this is an example of where the justice system can actually work, which I think is good. We need that for the psyche. We need to be able to trust our judicial process, right? You got people like Hillary Clinton bragging that she's never been indicted. You've got actual criminals out there bragging that they've never been indicted. You got Fauci talking on TV, not being tried. You had Epstein, but he, disappeared, right? You just had justice in the Rittenhouse trial, justice in the Ahmaud Arbery trial. Now you've got Ghislaine Maxwell. So this is another example of where, maybe the justice system will work because we know that it's broken. We know that there's flaws, major flaws, but it's not all bad. It's not all bad. You don't just have Ghislaine Maxwell on trial this week. You got Jussie Smollett, Jussie Smollett. He's on trial this week. And the two black Nigerian brothers that he hired because he couldn't find real white supremacists. They're going to be center stage. I'm wondering if this will be televised or if there will be clips from the courtroom. Will we get Jussie Smollett's facial expressions? Will he fake cry? Will we get some crocodile tears from him? Will LeBron James tweet about it? Will we have any celebrities tweeting about how he lied and tried to incite hate and racial tension in the country over a false flag, a fake hate crime hoax against himself? It's so embarrassing, man. So embarrassing. Will he spend a day in prison? Will he be convicted? Because like I said, the Ghislaine Maxwell trial, that's a good thing that she's on trial. That's a good thing, right? But at the same time, we have a two-tier justice system. Could you or I commit the same crimes as Jussie Smollett and have our trial delayed 3 years? Could we be free? Could we have media protection? People sticking up for us, lying to their followers like, I don't think he did anything wrong. This is racial injustice. No, we couldn't because we have a two-tier justice system. And it's not broken down along racial lines. It's the haves and the have-nots. If you have money, you can circumvent the justice system. But if you don't, you get the Rittenhouse treatment. You go on trial. And they damn near put him away. So you got this. But, it only really pays to be a criminal. So it's not just the rich, elite, and powerful. It's the career criminals that get slaps on the wrist in the justice system here. So here's an example. the GoFundMe Yanks page trying to raise $5 million bail for Waukesha parade suspect Daryl Brooks. Now, this is from last week, and my initial thought about this is it's somebody trolling. It really is. It's somebody trolling. I mean, I read the GoFundMe page, and they're saying, we believe that he is innocent. He would never do anything like this. I'm like, if somebody actually believed that about him, I don't think it would be worded that way. I think that was meant purposely to be inflammatory. I think it was probably somebody grifting, seeing if they could raise money and then pocket that money for themselves. I think it was to just incite more division. And honestly, it probably could have been somebody from the right, somebody that thinks that he should be in jail, somebody trying to make a point by raising money for his bail. But I think it was done in poor taste. I just don't believe that there's somebody out there trying to raise this man's bail. I think if he does get bailed out, I think it's going to be quietly done. I don't think it's going to be a GoFundMe. I think somebody did this for attention and to raise money for themselves and to make that point, like I said. But it's interesting, GoFundMe would remove the page. Why GoFundMe? Is GoFundMe trying to say that they don't think it's appropriate for this guy to get bail, to be eligible for bail? Because if that was the case, GoFundMe should make a public statement saying, we don't support Daryl Brooks having the opportunity to bond out, instead of just banning the page that's trying to raise money. I mean, it's a legal thing. Obviously, the judge thinks $5 million bail is appropriate. They only set it at that amount because they don't think anybody can raise the money to bail him out. As opposed to making a bigger statement saying, no, you don't get bail. You get what I'm saying? Like, why wouldn't they just say no bail at all instead of $5 million? Because $5 million means he could bail out. He could bond out. And then he'd be a threat to society once again. I have a hard time believing if he were to bail out right now, somebody came up with that $5 million, that he's going to get his life together and go cure cancer and walk the straight and narrow and try to be remorseful, try to repair the damage that he did to the community. I just don't think that is a thing. But nonetheless, I mean, the fact that this GoFundMe page was even possible because he could bail out just tells you that there are major problems in our legal system. Major problems. And we'll talk about one of those major problems right here, where a Racine County sheriff supervisor posted man's bail and this supervisor should be removed. So here's a news story from Racine County, Wisconsin.
New at 9, Racine County Sheriff Christopher Schmeling calling for the immediate removal of a county board supervisor after he allegedly posted the $10,000 bail for this man to be released from jail. Video provided to Fox 6 by Sheriff Schmeling shows Adrian Jefferson with a high-powered weapon. Jefferson is currently facing several charges, accused of stealing SWAT equipment from a SWAT operator's home. This includes a pistol, a sniper rifle, and another fully automatic rifle. He's also facing felony charges of armed robbery, carrying a concealed weapon, and intentionally pointing a firearm at law enforcement. The man Sheriff Schmeling wants removed is Racine County Board Supervisor Nick Dembski. The sheriff says this photo shows Dembski posting bail for Jefferson. Now, by law, Jefferson is entitled to bail set by the court. But in a statement, Schmeling says the supervisor's actions, quote, put the public in grave danger, and called for his immediate removal. Fox 6 has reached out to Dembski for comment. At this point, we have not heard back.
You know, I'm happy that there's a major spotlight being shined right now on the fact that you got politicians calling for bail reform, you know, in the name of equity. We need to let violent criminals out. And the fact that you actually have people posting bail for violent criminals, people with potential to do tremendous harm to the community. For whatever reason, this is happening in Wisconsin. It's happening everywhere, but in Wisconsin, there's a huge spotlight on it. Another violent criminal, so emboldened by the fact that he's getting slaps on the wrist, that he records a video of himself with some high-powered weapons that he stole because he feels like, hey, I won't get in trouble. I'm good. They'll let me out. And then you've got Soros-funded people like Nick Dembski, whose pronouns are he and him, in case you're curious, on his Twitter page, bailing him out, posting his cash bail that's super low. So don't think for 1 second that Darrell Brooks can't bond out at $5 million when people can just raise that money on the low and get him out. That's what I said. It's important to watch that. Watch that situation very carefully. It's getting more dangerous out here. These violent criminals, and then you've got these goofballs bailing them out. For what purpose? I tell you what, I think the people of Waukesha are awake and aware now. So, moving on. The looting that started in San Francisco has spread to the Twin Cities. Flash mob of 30 looters rampaged through 2 Minnesota Best Buys. Thieves take TVs, tablets, and hoverboards as smash and grabs spread beyond California. You know, I'm starting to notice a pattern here. It started in California, San Francisco, LA, and now it's spread out to the Midwest. I mean, it's been happening in Chicago. Now it's happening in the Twin Cities. It's happening in New York. It's happening in Philly. What do all those places have in common? Can't figure it out. Oh, that's right. Democrat-controlled, soft on crime areas, they feel emboldened. How come you haven't heard to this point of smash and grabs in Georgia, Texas, Tennessee, Arkansas, Florida? How come there's no smash and grabs happening in those states? Could it be the tough law enforcement presence? Could it be the no-nonsense leadership of those states? Why is it happening in Minnesota? Why in California? Why New York? Is it just a coincidence? Or is it that they know that they can get away with it? And they are. They are getting away with it. For the most part, they are getting away with it. And that's why there's so many more people joining. Flash mobs of looters, which we're not supposed to call. We're not supposed to call it looting, even though that's what the hell it is. You're not supposed to call it that. And there's one story out of Oakland, I forgot to pull it up, where they killed an Asian man who was I think he's current or former law enforcement, who was trying to defend one of the businesses. So what a shocker that these thugs, these looters are also violent. It's not just that they want to steal TVs and then go sell them on eBay. They're willing to commit more crime. They're willing to be violent on top of it. I'm telling you, man, people need to wake up, exercise your Second Amendment right, buy up all the guns. Buy all the guns. Buy them all. Guns should be out of stock because people are buying them up. Because that's the only way you're going to be able to, you have to protect yourself. Because especially if you live in these blue areas, there's just crime, just lawlessness everywhere. And this is what they want for the whole country. Because equity, I'm good, man. I'm good. Here's some more good news for you. Texas Rep. Eddie Bernice Johnson is latest House Democrat to announce retirement. This woman is 85 years old and has represented Texas's 30th congressional district since 1993. So not only is she basically a fossil, she has been in her current position since 93. Yep, I think it's time to go. This is good news. I don't know anything about her district. I'd have to research it and see if it's a blue district. She's already recommended a replacement. I think it's in Dallas somewhere, so it's probably a blue area. So she's probably going to be replaced by a more radical version of herself, which is unfortunate for Congress, for the country, if they ever, if they somehow manage to hang on to their slim majority in the midterms, which I don't think will happen, not at all. But still, it's bad for at least for the people of that district. But it's good news that a lifelong career politician who is way too old to be governing and making all these decisions, she will not be here to see the consequences or live through the consequences of the policy she supports. She's way too old for that. So it's good that she's retiring. Good for her to retire. There's something noble about these politicians who know that they're way past their prime. They know that and they probably, I don't know if she's corrupt. I honestly don't know. All I know is she's been there for a long time. But it's good that she's retiring instead of just dying in her seat or just running until the end of time. More people should follow suit. People from both parties. Just want to make that clear. Speaking of the donkey party, Democrats struggle to find party's message for midterms. Strategist says, too late, we're already effed. Democrats struggle to find their message. I think we already know what their message is. Vote for us or you'll die from climate change. Vote for us or you'll die from COVID, systemic racism, white supremacy. That's it. That's the Democrat Party platform in a nutshell. Vote for us because the other people are racist. If you don't elect us, you'll die from climate change, COVID, and also watch out for white supremacy. That's their shtick. That's their whole deal. Racism, COVID, climate change. On loop. And if you don't vote for us, you'll die. They have to fearmonger. They have to tug at the heartstrings. We're going to fix all these things. But first, we need to grow government and we need higher taxes to do so. There, fixed it. That's your party message. Unless they're realizing, hey, this party message isn't that popular. And we just saw it in Virginia and New Jersey and Buffalo, New York and Seattle. It's just not working out so well. That's really funny, though. It's good. They're struggling to find their party message. That's it. I covered everything that I had today for my topics, guys. But I'm going to pull up the chat here. Thanks to everybody who is tuned in right now. See, we got quite a few people watching. If you haven't already, please give this stream a thumbs up. It's the only way we can overcome YouTube's algorithmic demotion of my content is to do that. God bless you all. Make sure you are sub to the backup channel. Thank you for putting that in the chat, Sean. Appreciate you. Just search Mike Nificent 813. Should pop right up. Crime mob, not flash mob. Whatever it is, man. Crime mob, flash mob. It's a mob of people who think that they're above the law. Criminal lowlifes that more often than not are just getting slaps on the wrist. But they're going after the law abiding. Can't people see the pattern? Don't you notice it? The laws that they put on the books will affect law abiding citizens. They won't affect criminals. How is that not common sense? Criminals don't follow laws. So after a mass shooting, if you propose tougher gun laws, criminals are still going to commit crime, as it turns out. Because what they already did is against the law. It's against the law to murder people, and yet they murder people. And then your response is we need tougher gun laws, as if they can't get guns illegally. I just say, I mean, it's just crazy to me. Low-life criminals, these thugs, career criminals, keep getting let out because tug at the heartstrings. It's just the system of white supremacy. If you look back at the historic legacy of white supremacy, that's why that thug shot down that neighborhood. That's why straight bullets are hitting black kids and black families while they're trying to eat Thanksgiving dinner. That's a story that happened over the weekend. Guys enjoying Thanksgiving dinner, killed in the middle of his dinner by a stray bullet. But the criminal behind the trigger was just a victim of the historic legacy of white supremacy and systemic racism. BS. But hey, let's put tougher gun laws on the books so that law-abiding citizens can't have guns. And that's going to somehow stop the criminals from committing crime. The criminals that shouldn't be on the street because it's like their 13th offense. While we talk about systemic racism and injustices in the criminal justice system, why are so many career criminals on the street right now if they're getting locked up disproportionately? I'm just saying. People try to say, people who disagree will try to say, you're just cherry picking to make your argument. My response to them is, you're overlooking all of these cases, these instances of people that are getting off the hook. I mean, somebody just plowed through a parade after they bonded out for $500, they plowed through a parade, and then they're still granted bail. Mind you, they took him into custody. They didn't shoot him dead. Although some people might say that that would have made the world a better place. I'm not going to say that, but some people might say that he should not have been taken in. But it's neither here nor there. All we got to do is hope that he does not post bail. You've also got Alec Baldwin out there, since we're talking about a two-tier justice system. Alec Baldwin is still out there running his mouth, just trying to live a normal life again after he killed somebody. How many of you could just casually commit manslaughter and then be a free person? Go shopping with your family? I'm guessing not many of you. But two-tier justice system. If you are a criminal or if you got a lot of money, you're good. But if you're just somebody that's trying to live a normal life, you want to live in a functioning society that's safe, you follow all the rules, they'll take your guns and call you a domestic terrorist. So, yeah, will Alec Baldwin face any charges? I have my doubts. What's going on with that investigation, by the way? I mean, it's been what, damn near 2 months? Is he going to be arrested or not? Mike Nificent, have you seen videos of the thieves breaking into the train cars and stealing the goods in California? I've not seen it, but do I need to see it to believe it? I mean, there's a lot of fake news floating around, but one thing we know for sure, crime is on the rise, especially around the holidays. And this was all pre-pandemic. This has always been a thing. Crime is on the rise near the holidays. Because lamestream fails by omission to educate the sheep. Here we are. You need to educate yourself. Going back to why I say the truth is a value. You have to want to know if what you believe is true. You got to feed your mind with information. You got to do your own research. There's value added to doing your own research as opposed to just filling your brain with whatever information flows your way. Omicron equals moronic. Yeah, I heard that. Or I saw somebody talk about that. If you scramble up the words moronic, you get Omicron. I'm sure that's just a coincidence, right? But I mean, the longer that this goes on, the longer that they continue to talk about new variants and people just react in fear and hysteria, the more moronic it seems. This will never end. COVID is here to stay. So people should probably think about, I don't know, maybe taking off their mask and trying to go back to normal life, where we don't hide from germs and live in fear and treat our loved ones, friends, and family like they're diseased lepers if they haven't gotten a shot when they're not sick. I'm going to be traveling soon, and I have to take a test to see if I'm sick. That's how crazy things have gotten. You have to take a test to see if you're sick. Your body won't tell you you're sick, but a test will. They're trying hard to get full control of us all. Yeah. I mean, there's other stories I could talk about right now, honestly. I've been off for 4 days, and there's stories happening right now that I don't have the time to cover it, honestly, but I'll be back tomorrow with more content. There'll be more stories to talk about tomorrow, but I'm going to go ahead and wrap this stream early today. Not too early. We're only a few minutes shy of the 1 hour mark. Mike Nificent, can you find anything on the PA governor next year? I don't know what you mean. Find anything on the PA governor, like research them or something? I don't know what you mean. Climate control next. Yeah, climate tyranny is coming. It is coming. You know, it's funny. I have the Weather Channel app installed on my phone, and they have those little video clips at the bottom if you scroll all the way down. And they're simulating cities that are flooding if we don't do anything. And they're saying, if we don't take drastic action right now, Dubai might be underwater. New York City could be underwater. Sick of all this doomsday scenarios, doomsday prophecy. If we don't change everything about everything now, we're all going to be underwater. Man wants to be God so bad. My goodness. Anyways, guys, I'm going to wrap this stream up. I do appreciate everybody for being here. Give it a thumbs up if you haven't already. If you're new, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you don't miss an upload, a live stream, etc. I will be back with more content tomorrow. God bless you all. I'll catch you in the next stream.